Real questions, real answers for real life. Come on in and pull up a chair. It's time to discuss the issues of the day here at 1850 Main Street.
So what exactly is going on with these pro-Palestine protests on college campuses across the country? Today, Dave is joined at the table by Rob Walgate and Alan C. Duncan.
So I guess we got to figure out who starts, right? That seems to always be the most difficult part of a conversation sitting around the table. Who goes first?
Usually I jump in and always want to go first. Like I'll go first. I'll go last. I'll just talk it out.
All right. So at the table, Rob Walgate, Alan C. Duncan, and myself, Dave Zanotti on 1850. It's a conversation around the fireplace, and there's always room for more. So all kinds of people come in here and join us and join around us and comment to us and participate in this process, because this is an ongoing national conversation about what do we do to stop a civil war from happening in America. That's the premise. 1850 was 10 years before the Civil War. So if you've only got 10 years to bring a country together and war is not an option, how do you do it? It's a fair question. So it means we cover all kinds of stuff. So anyhow, you guys brought some stuff to the table today that's on your mind. Rob, you were starting with the campus protests?
Yeah, just so many things happening.
You came in here all worked up about that, banging on the table. And
I didn't throw anything yet. I haven't spray painted anything yet. But the campus protests, it seems like things are happening all across the country, although it's primarily on the coast, with encampment sites overtaking green space on campuses, on college universities. And we're actually seeing commencements canceled in 2024 for college graduates. And what's interesting to me is many of these seniors that are having their graduation day canceled in 2024 are the same ones who didn't get to graduate high school in 2020 because of
wow, I
COVID.
hadn't thought about that, man.
So
wow.
they're experiencing the second half of it. So it's just been fascinating to watch. You're watching a bunch of people overtake college campuses. Some may be students, some may not be students. But I want to know how many of those people that are overtaking the campuses and making these protests have government-backed loans that they're going to ask the rest of us to pay for as soon as these protests are over. Like, are we
Alan,
putting...
He sounds like the get off my lawn guy.
I was yelling at a cloud this morning. That's what I said. I feel like the angry guy. I'm just like, what in the world is happening here?
Wow. Yeah.
I think the Babylon Bee has a good headline that kind of makes a similar point to what Rob just said. Yeah, it's a fair question.
Oh, wait a minute. Is he guilty of plagiarism as well?
Did I plagiarize the Babylon Bee already?
No, maybe you're writing for them.
Is it
I don't
possible
know.
to plagiarize the Babylon Bee? Would that be like plagiarizing the Onion? I'm not sure.
I think they invite the plagiarism. You know, where it's all just sharing around.
The problem is then their headlines end up being factual. That's what they like now, is the fact that they write a headline and then a couple years later, like, look, we predicted that.
Well, they had to have a whole separate news wing called Not the Babylon Bee, and it's easy to get them confused now, unfortunately.
So it seems like there are corroborations from across media sources that investigating contribution reports that show that there's a direct link to Soros-backed organizations and people showing up on college campuses who are being funded there to protest, but they're not students. So this is it, and again, this is widely reported across the media. So it goes even beyond people are saying. It's a lot of people are saying in print and in other methods that this is all staged. Kind of reminds you of was it Operation Wall Street? Was it the One Percenters? What was the no, it wasn't Operation Wall Street. What was it? The Wall Street protests that happened a while ago.
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street. Yeah, with the One Percenters. Yeah.
Kind of the same old thing. I mean, it's all. So I got a question. Do you think that this is the beginning of a 90-day strategy to move this into the place that when the Democrats have a convention in Chicago, it's going to erupt based on this whole concept of protest against Israel?
Yeah, it possibly could. I wonder how much are the Soros-funded people, the agitators, the actors that are coming in off-site. And I do also wonder is how many of these are college students that just don't want to take final exams. I think if I was there on campus and I'd be like, wait a minute, I'm not sure what cause I believe in for what reason, but I don't want to take an exam. I'll go sit in the middle of the grass and rate my professor, who now we see professors forming human shield chains around these people so that the media can't get in. You can't see or talk to them. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, Rob, that might be some of the people, maybe some of the people further in the back, I don't know, filling out the crowd. But it seems that some of these protesters are true believers in their cause. I mean, you hear some of the chants and some of the threats that they're making. I heard someone try to defend the protesters by saying they don't know what they're saying, that try to say that they don't know what the phrase "from the river to the sea" might even mean. And I'm thinking, well, you should look it up. It's not hard to find. It's not hard to find what it is. That's not an excuse to chant it. You should look it up, and you should know that you're calling for the death and extermination of an entire nation of people. So there's not an excuse.
You're protesting genocide while calling for genocide.
Yes.
Sure.
And when are we going to tell the protesters no? Or when are we going to tell these students no, you can't get your way? I mean, there was the video floating around of the UCLA student, Jewish student, trying to get to class. He's trying to get to class, and he's being blocked by protesters. He's being blocked by people. He looks at the security guard and said, I'm just trying to get to class.
Yeah, there's a security guard right there.
Yeah, he's right there. He said, I'm just trying to get to class. I pay tuition here. My question becomes, can you imagine just if that was any other ethnicity, race, student that was, and the people blocking him were a different ethnicity or race, it would have been national news and everyone would have talked about it, and we would have been talking about civil war.
Well, there are so many questions that this whole issue raises. The first thing is, I think, is to be easily would be to dismiss it because it's happening in so few places. It's clearly orchestrated. It's nothing but clickbait fuel and cable nightly news stuff. And I mean, I was watching the Columbia protest and playing the game of trying to flip across all the different cable news channels in the evening to see how they cover it. I don't know what to make of it. It couldn't be more different in the way that it was being portrayed and cast. That's one thing. It's just really weird. But I think the weirder thing is we fought a world war against tyranny, against totalitarianism. We watched Nazi Germany isolate the Jewish population and turn them into a concept of non-humanity so that they could exterminate them because of their pure hatred and anti-Semitism. Now, I know that the concentration camps didn't start simply with Jewish people. There were lots of German people that were placed there too, and there were Poles, and there were protesters, and there were the infirm, and there were people that had mental health issues, and there were gypsies, and there were all kinds of people that experienced the death camps. But the reality is the driving force for the final solution was anti-Semitism, and that's what American troops went into Germany. The Liberator Tank Force that came through and liberated Dachau. That happened to be one of the Nyland cousins, by the way, the famous family that had 4 boys and 2 cousins in the theater of battle at that moment, which was the inspirational story for Saving Private Ryan. All right. So, yeah, we went over there, 12 million people strong, to stop evil, which was as racist and genocidal in Nazi Germany as it could be. And now we've got people protesting on our campuses, fully being defended by American media and by organizations and funded by global internationalists to spew nothing but anti-Israel and anti-Jewish hatred on American soil. And what exactly are we supposed to do? Call evil good? And how's that work? How can you lose in a generation and a half? How can you lose reality at that level? Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I am the original get off my lawn guy. I don't know.
Thanks for stopping by at 1850 Main Street. We're glad you're here. Do you want to learn more about what is really going on behind the scenes in public policy? Tune in to The Public Square on over 200 radio stations coast to coast. Or download the free Public Square mobile app from your app store. Just look for The Lamppost. Find out what America is really talking about at thepublicsquare.com.
Well, and I think that doesn't, I think you can separate some of these ideas in your mind. You can look at people calling for genocide on campuses, people blocking Jewish students from getting to campus, destroying property. You can look at that and say, that's wrong. That doesn't mean you think every single thing that Israel is doing currently or has done in the past or will ever do in the future is automatically right. I think that you can hold two thoughts in your mind at the same time. And so I think sometimes people forget that we can do that.
Well, then we'd have to have a conversation with one another.
Yeah, but I can't hold them equivalent.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hold them, but I can't hold them as of equal value.
Well, and I think that's where the argument becomes. Is Israel hurting civilians? Are they trying hard enough not to? There's that. That's the question that people are fighting over.
Yeah, but I guess it seems that I can understand about that question is who started it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, did we forget what happened in October? I know you didn't, but I mean, did people forget what happened in October? Did they forget? By the way, where's the hostages? I've listened to military experts last week said they're dead. That's where they are. They're dead.
Well, and I guess for me, that's the part looking at as well. We know those hostages are there. Look at the media uproar and look what happened when a female professional basketball player was detained in Russia for taking illegal drugs into the country. Brittany Griner was arrested. People were screaming for her release because she took what she took into Russia. People from America, the media was screaming, President, you have to get her out of there. Why haven't we heard that same media screaming about these hostages that are being held by Hamas? Why weren't we hearing
There's American hostages in there, Rob.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Why aren't we hearing the same media that screamed for Brittany Griner scream for them? I understand why we wanted Brittany Griner home. I'm glad she's home. But these hostages didn't break the law, didn't do anything wrong that are being held by Hamas.
They were a part of a murderous strategy.
Yes.
And that was started by by Hamas. And now suddenly we've got, we're raising Palestinian flags in America saying this is just dumb.
The campus at George Washington University, the statue of George Washington is draped in Palestinian garb and flags. That's what they've done. It's sad. And these are the people that would scream about January 6th and what happened when people tried to hold a protest and they say occupy the Capitol. I mean, the justification of people based upon whichever cause you have, and I'm not defending January 6th and occupying the Capitol. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying is people think what they're doing is right as long as they feel their cause is just.
Yeah. So I think that I'm sorry. I think the question is it all politics? When it comes to the American question, not the question between Israel and the Palestinians, between Israel and Hamas, that's an ancient battle that's been with us for a long, long time. And it's the American premise is that we're all created in God's image and that all people are sincerely born with conscience and value and worth and should be afforded equal justice under the law. We get that part. I don't care whether they consider themselves Arab or Israeli or Palestinian or Jewish. People are people. All right. And so I get that part very much so. But at what point in time do we just call politics politics?
That's what I think is happening because since the protests started, how much have you heard about what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening on a daily basis? We used to get updates all the time. Now my updates are what's happening in UCLA or what's happening in Columbia or what's happening in GW. So we're not hearing about what's happening on the ground over there. We're hearing about what's happening on the ground. They're defeating the purpose and cause.
Duncan, how skeptical do you have to be? I mean, really, how cynical do you have to be to actually say, okay, they did all that they were doing because their goal was to create an international horror show that they could import into the American political process for the advantage of Hamas and their agenda.
Wow. 4D chess.
Have we heard in the past 3 weeks since early April what is going on over there? Other than, we see what's happening in buildings. We see them destroying one of the 4 original buildings at UCLA. We see the statues. We see the things they're doing here.
Well, and that's the other thing. It's what are you advocating for? Are you advocating for building something or are you advocating for destroying things? Do you know how to build things or do you just want to destroy things? What do you want?
1948, 1963, 1973, how many of these conflicts, how many wars is it going to take for people in the West to understand that this is an ancient conflict? And until the parties that are involved decide they don't want to do war with each other, but they actually want to solve a problem, people on the outside looking in, what are they going to do?
The conversations are just getting started. To get connected, check out 1850mainstreet.com. We don't data mine anyone or sell your information. Subscribe today so you don't miss a single conversation. We'll see you next time here at 1850 Main Street.